Welcome to the Power of X. Today I've got Chris Combs and Steve Waterkotte with us of the Combs Waterkotte Law Firm out of St. Louis. We're excited to have them here. They are a part of the Hexen family of companies. Today we're going to talk about some important facts that have to do with what to do, when to do, how to deal with when you're in trouble, which is a great thing to have some terrific legal support when you're having a difficult time. Now, I appreciate you guys coming in. This is it's great to have you. I'm excited to have you because we've done some research. Now, Hexen has evolved a lot in SEO, digital design, web design, and Hexen Media, which is some video work that we do for many of our clients. But today, we wanted to bring you guys in so that we could get a feel for what we have seen in the Google world. You know, the questions that people have when they reach out to law firms and attorneys, or if they do Q&As. So we're going to cover a few topics, ask a few of those questions, and see if we can't, explain things to people so they can better understand what to do, when to do it, and sometimes what not to do. It's a big part of it. So who is Combs and Waterkotte?
Combs Waterkotte is what we believe is Missouri's leading criminal defense firm. We're a full-service criminal defense firm. We go statewide from every corner of the state. We have three. Obviously, Chris and myself are the managing partners. We have Matt Brown, who's an associate attorney, but also a 14-year seasoned attorney, former prosecutor, very seasoned trial lawyer. And then we have 4 full-time support staff. Again, we're a full-service criminal defense firm, and what I mean by that is we do everything from something as minor as a traffic ticket all the way to the most serious of felonies, murder, rape, robbery, sex offenses, and then anything in between. We handle that. In addition to our criminal defense practice, which consists about 95% of what we do, we also handle order of protection cases, which are also known as restraining orders. We also handle university discipline cases, so cases in which a student at a university is getting disciplined, whether it's academic reasons, plagiarism, things like that, or could be Title IX violations, frat hazing and things like that. Sure. So that kind of gives you a nutshell of what Combs Waterkotte is. We believe we provide superior service to any other firm. And when I say that, I mean client communication. Sure. I think that is the hallmark of every case. I think that's also probably the biggest complaint of clients. When I don't know what's going on with my case, I don't hear from my attorney, they don't call back.
I get stonewalled by a receptionist or a paralegal.
Right. And so I think we are extremely accessible. Everyone's going to get a call back that day, get an email response that day. I think that has to be one of the things that separates us from anyone else.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's important. If you don't take care of your clients, they generally don't come back.
No.
And is it often that your client, you have consistent needs, like your clients keep coming back to you?
Yeah, I think
on a consistent basis.
And that's probably one of the greatest, when you have, the most flattering thing is when somebody can come back to you.
Yeah,
really. That means you did something good for them, or they refer you to a friend or a family member. I mean, that is our, when somebody gives us a referral, I mean, that is probably one of the biggest token of appreciations is, hey, we did a good job for them. They feel comfortable, sending a friend or a family member to us to help them in a time of need.
That's a big deal. I mean, if somebody goes to your family, their family, and they're like, hey, these guys have what it takes. That's a big statement.
It is.
That's a really big
statement.
When
somebody says, hey, my son.
Will you trust somebody with your kids or with your mother?
Correct.
That's a big deal.
It is. So, again, I think we provide excellent communication. We're very accessible. All of our clients, whether it's, within our firm, everyone, Chris's clients has his cell phone number. We answer the phones on weekends, nights. I mean, the fact of the matter in this business, things happen outside of 9 to 5.
Sure do.
So, we can't, if somebody's in a jam or in trouble or an arrest is made, and it happens on a weekend, we respond. And then we have the resources within our firm to do that. Because like I said, we have 3 full-time attorneys, 4 full-time support staff. And so that's helpful. And it's big for somebody to have that kind of staff and resources behind them, each particular client.
That's fantastic. I have a question for you, Chris.
Sure.
Both of you guys, actually. But do you have a case? The case?
A case?
The case.
Well,
You know what I mean.
I have an interesting one
It's
right
like,
now.
wow, this is the case that just is mind-blowing.
Currently, I have a pretty interesting case. It's my client's charged with kidnapping and assault second. He has 2 co-defendants. It's gotten some media attention.
Wow.
Because it is a bunch of, it's a number of people who are a member of a church in the city. They practice Christianity, but one of the members of the church was having, some sort of mental breakdown and was confined to a room, And
Was this during one of the like an event at the church?
Yes, yeah, they were doing like a 30-day fast, and people were coming in from all over the country. My client's in the, was in the military. He served abroad, and it's a he said she said case.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how that turns. But when you've got kidnapping and you've got religion,
Oh my gosh.
and you've got people who are speaking Swahili, that immigrated here from the Congo, it's kind of
That seems full.
conundrum. Yeah.
Armed
Seems really full.
service guy as well. I mean, served in the military.
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I will say on that case, I'll brag about Mr. Combs here. It has, like he said, caught a lot of media attention due to those things that he just mentioned. So it's been featured in People magazine.
Oh, wow.
Like Time magazine,
Wow.
all the local stations, and it's got that kind of sex appeal.
Well,
The
yeah.
glitzy kind of
Yeah.
appeal, and so.
Well, if networks like it or magazines like it, it's sexy. I mean, the way you described it, it's got a whole bunch of media-friendly stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just the awful things, of course. All of them included together and some roped into some unfortunate circumstance. And boy, the media loves that.
Sure. Yeah. This is a unique case. No doubt.
Well, exciting. We're excited to hear the progress of it. We'll meet back up, have another conversation, we'll find out how
Absolutely.
things go. How about you, Steve?
I have a case that we're about 90 days from trial. It's in Crawford County, which is Steelville, is the county seat there. And so we're about 3 months out from trial. It's a case in which my client, a 20-year-old kid, no prior offenses, by all accounts, just a wonderful kid. If I could have him as a client on every case, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
In any event, he was at home this past November getting ready to go deer hunting. Him and his buddy, the opening week of deer season, which is big in that part of in Missouri, rural Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
And so him and his buddy about to go deer hunting, and he lives, in a remote area, like many folks do in that county.
Yeah.
Not a lot of traffic where he lives, and all of a sudden a vehicle pulls down his kind of gravel road as they're loading up the truck to go deer hunting. Of course, they're in camo and have their rifles and such. And his mother happened to be there dropping something off, and they were all about to depart to go deer hunting. And they didn't. Mom says, "Do you know these people?" "No, I don't know them." "Are you expecting anybody?" Everybody was clueless as to who these people were.
Well, that's
And
frightening.
it is, and and this was 11 a.m., noon, something like that, and you just don't stumble on a house like this.
And you probably didn't miss a turn.
Exactly. You're not exactly. If you got to find the house.
Right.
It'd be, your intent is to go to that house. In any event, they pulled down this little gravel road. Mom, they all look at each other puzzled. At which point they say, "Hey, leave. You're trespassing. There's a no trespassing sign." And Mom is leaving, and they're kind of the vehicles. They had to back the vehicle that came in are backing out. Ultimately, words are exchanged. The 3 occupants in this unknown vehicle are cussing out mom and son for essentially telling them to leave, you're trespassing, and at which point it turns into my client shooting at the vehicle. He claims, and his mother claims, that they pointed a gun. And so kind of this verbal exchange escalates to a situation where one of the occupants in that vehicle pointed a gun at my client or his mother. Of course, they claim that that didn't happen. My client fires a single shot into the vehicle, enters the vehicle, and struck one of the occupants of the vehicle. She had to be airlifted. So he is charged, I think it's 4 counts of felony assault first degree, which is the highest class. It's a felony. 3 counts of armed criminal action.
Oh,
excuse me, 3 counts of assault first, 1 for each occupant.
Right.
3 counts armed criminal action and unlawful use of a weapon. There's 7 charges total.
Jeez.
You're looking at, if you did the math on it, you're probably looking at somewhere in the ballpark of
A couple life sentences.
yeah,
Right?
certainly. 175, 200 years, whatever the math is. So it's going to be a strong case, in my opinion, of self-defense.
Sure.
We will be asserting a defense of the self-defense and defense of others.
Of course.
Which you can do in Missouri, defend another person as if it's yourself.
Well, of course.
So-
I don't know that. It sounds right to me.
So,
and they're on your
that's-
property.
and
right?
that's what we'll put before the jury. And the 3 occupants in the vehicle are, after we had an investigator kind of dig into their past, they're not the most savory people. They weren't there delivering, Girl Scout cookies. One of the occupants had 30 plus felonies.
I mean, if they had Girl Scout cookies, it
took
wouldn't have been a problem.
Then
I mean, it
this
would have
all
been a
would've
nice
we wouldn't be talking about
gesture,
this.
at least.
We wouldn't be talking about this.
Well, at least
So-
the bullet didn't hit the Girl Scout cookies.
That's right.
Because that would be a major loss.
So in any event, he's out on bond, fortunately, because that's always number one on any case.
Of course.
Is we got to get him
client
out. And so fortunately we were able to get him out.
Oh, good.
Just after Thanksgiving. I think he was in there a week. We got him out on a very reasonable bond, low bond amount. And he has a lot of support in the community. Our client does. I mean, he's, like I said, when I've met with him at the jail for the first time, and, I don't know how many countless hundreds of people over your career we see at the jail, in this one in particular, you could just see some of our clients have been in and out of jail. They know nobody wants to be in jail, right? We've never
Mostly,
have you ever had a client say, "Hey, I'm fine here, do your thing"? Never.
Ever, no.
And so, but nonetheless, there's some clients that have a little more accustomed to that.
Yeah.
They've been in and out
The
of jail.
environment, yeah.
This kid you saw the fear in his eyes. You saw just absolute devastation of this predicament that he's in.
Oh, sure.
And so, it's our job. It's my job as the lead attorney here is to save this kid's life. It's an awesome responsibility. It's a stressful one, but one that I cannot wait to get into the courtroom on. I am chomping at the bit to get this case in front of a jury.
That's exciting.
12 jurors in Crawford County, which are a lot of good folks down there, and they're rural, gun, most Second Amendment people, land-owning people that say, hey, if somebody's going to come on my property that I don't know and say, get out of here.
Yeah, you make a decision.
You do.
When you enter someone's property.
That's right. And a lot of those folks have that mindset. And so I am eager, very, very eager, chomping at the bit to get. In fact, we'll get this from arrest to a jury in less than a year, which is almost unheard
Oh, that's
of.
fantastic.
I mean, in St. Louis County, we're probably looking at 2 years before a trial. And on the first court date, I said, we're setting this for a jury trial because we have a plea offer on the table of 15 years.
That's
I said to our client, I said,
I love your enthusiasm. I generally don't see that.
I am jacked.
That's so great.
Chris will tell you about this. I mean, he goes, how's this set for a jury trial? I came back on the first court date in circuit court. So case starts in associate circuit court. We had a preliminary hearing.
Yeah.
Then it gets into circuit court, and I came back, I think, to the office. He said, you set this case? I mean, it's just almost unheard of.
That's awesome.
But it's not a very complicated case. I mean, it's, despite all these things happening. And I said, hell yeah, we've got this thing too. I'm setting this for get this in front of a jury as quickly as possible. Because we got to keep in mind, while this case is going on, this looms over somebody's head. I mean, It affects their life. Yeah. It affects their sleep. It affects everything they do.
That's emotional damage.
I mean, imagine you have something hanging over your head in which is, if he's found guilty, I mean, it's game over. I mean, he's looking at, again,
Yeah.
up to whatever crazy amount of years.
Yeah.
So I am jacked up.
That's
about
exciting.
This. I am, yeah. So,
Very passionate about this case.
That's awesome.
so
it's
90 days away.
Which is exciting to hear how enthusiastic you are. I think that's amazing.
And then I'll say this. I mean, that is one thing that we do at Combs Waterkotte is we try cases. That's the things that get me jacked.
Play to win.
It is, and there's a lot of attorneys, and then Chris can kind of comment on this as well. There's a lot of attorneys that the thought of a trial never comes to mind, or they're not trying a case.
Right.
I mean, we had our associate. And I say it almost with quotations, our associate, because you think of a third-year guy out of law school. I mean, he's a seasoned guy. I mean, a former prosecutor himself. And we had our associate 2 weeks ago that tried a case in northwest Missouri by himself. The guy, our client, facing 3 life sentences, and he got not guilty on all charges. And again, Chris will agree, I think, and you can comment on this, is, that's, I think, another thing that separates our firm is that when we get a case, we're looking at the finish line, the trial. It's how we can get to, talking with our client about goals. How do we get to where we need to be?
Sure.
In some cases, it's plea, of course, but on cases like this, when you're charged with serious A.B. felonies, there's not a lot of middle room in terms of
pleading means you go.
So
pleading means you're doing time.
Yeah, well, in many cases, or you can get probation as well. But and again, but if you're a D felony or something, you're probably getting probation, and plea might be the best. And it's not to say we try every case, we don't, but we are not afraid to try cases, and I think that goes to show you. Like I said, our associate attorney. I don't think there's a single firm in the state that can send their associate attorney. I'm convinced of this. That can send their associate attorney across the state solo with a guy facing 3 life sentences and walks the guy not guilty on all charges.
Wow.
So,
get him a ribbon or something.
Oh yeah.
You should wear you should get medals
It's a
every
hell
time
of
you
a
get
job.
a big case.
It was.
That's awesome.
And so I think, and Chris, you can comment. I mean, I think that's one of the things too is about our firm is that, in terms of a trial, we're not afraid to take the gloves off and mix it up when it needs to be done.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's there's a lot of criminal defense attorneys obviously in the area.
Sure.
However, there's not many that will. I wouldn't say there's not many, but
a handful.
There's a handful that are willing to try cases. A lot of attorneys are trying to work out deals.
Well, is it paper pushing attorneys?
Well, not necessarily that, but
go to the court.
It's a lot to try a case.
Yeah.
That's the only case you're working on for weeks leading up to it, and then when you're in trial, you're not working on any other file.
Right.
So there's just not many firms that are equipped to do it.
Equipped to do it is the key, I think. And going back to, sorry to interrupt, but about resources, if you're a solo shop and you're in a trial, you're not tending to other clients and your other business, and I think that's what, when Chris said equipped to do it, I think that's exactly what I alluded to about having the resources in place, having a fantastic support staff, a seasoned paralegal, associate, and then 2 managing partners. We're equipped to do it. It doesn't shut down our firm when somebody's trying a case, and so I think when I talked about the resources, I think that goes right in there.
That's great. I mean, I think that's overlooked often when folks just kind of flip through the book or Google for an attorney. That's overlooked. Like, well, you don't think about, does this attorney actually have the time and resources to try this case and properly handle it, or are they just gonna take the money, be like, I'll do my best, but this one pays more, that one pays more. And it sounds like you guys look at the case as more important than anything else that you're doing, because by your enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I think
by how important it feels.
And I'll correct you there. We don't look at it as the case. We look at it as the client.
The client.
That
makes sense.
That's a huge distinction. That guy,
absolutely, to
somebody or a prosecutor or a judge, might be a name, or gal might be a name on a piece of paper.
Sure.
To us, I mean, that is a person. They have a family. What they did wrong or allegedly did wrong, they deserve a defense.
Right.
And so it's a name. It's not a name. It's not a case. It's a human being. It's a client who has a family that loves them.
See, that's awesome.
That has children waiting on them, or
That's
mother
huge.
and father.
That's so huge. Like, I've had to call attorneys before, and it's terrifying already because I'm in a position that I don't know what to expect because I don't know how to deal with this. This isn't something I do every day, right? So you got to make the phone calls, and you're like, well, and then you talk to somebody, and you just have to take for granted that what they're telling you is accurate.
Right.
And not only that, how do you determine if they're the right attorney?
Sure.
Which is terrifying too.
It's very tough. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell clients often, when you're dealing with one of the most difficult times of your life, if you're charged with a serious crime,
Right.
All you can do is do your research and meet with, it's like having a surgery with the doctor. You want to sit down with a couple doctors and hear them out and do your due diligence, and then you got to make a decision.
But you got to trust them.
Yeah,
and you got to trust.
And if somebody was searching for an attorney, or I got a call the other day on a murder case, and I say to them, I say, do your homework.
Sure.
And do your research and look at prior case results. Look at our case results, and we never would ever badmouth another attorney. That's not our job to do. My job is to say, hey, this is what I can do. This is what Chris can. This is what we collectively can do for you. And I urge clients all the time. I say, I think if my own child was in trouble, like Chris said, you go to various doctors, you make an informed decision. But I said, do your research. But there are some questions that I would always implore in a client to ask and say, ask that attorney what part of criminal defense is their practice.
Sure.
There's a lot of attorneys that do personal injury and they do contracts or divorce stuff, family law. We specialize, like I said, 95% is criminal defense. I mean, you can almost say virtually all of it because the orders of protection are even quasi-criminal. So I say, ask them what percentage of criminal defense work it comprises their practice. One, to look around, like I said, about the support staff. Do they have the support staff and the resources to handle your case if it's a serious one? And then arguably, most importantly, does that attorney try a case? Ask them when they last tried a case. Because if you ask me that, I'll say, I tried a case 7 months ago.
Yeah, you've been ready to try one.
And I'm ready to try one. And our associate just tried one. Ask them if they tried it. When's the last time they tried a case?
Right.
Ask them when the last time they got
It's
a not
important
guilty
questions.
verdict.
These are really important questions.
They are. And I have no problem telling that prospective client at the time when they come to see us, giving them this information. I feel we're positioned if they did their research and asked the pertinent questions, I feel Combs Waterkotte is positioned to come out on top on that. When they search around, yes, they should. Like Chris said, if you're about to have a major surgery, you're going to go, hey, I'm going to talk to another doctor. I'm going to talk to this guy and consult with some family if they've had the same surgery. I mean, it's due diligence, and they should. And I feel, like I said, Combs Waterkotte's positioned to come out on top on that.
Well, and not only to come out on top because of your experience, 10,000 plus cases, but then to come out on top because of your relationship with Hexen, which gives you more opportunity to reach more people.
Absolutely.
Which is another plus. So let's jump in to some questions. These are the questions, the Q&A stuff.
All right.
And we've compiled.